Yeah, the safety career post COVID-19. Currently, I'm in a construction firm. I'll be talking based from my over 10 years of experience, what I have seen and what I'm seeing. Before COVID-19, we always had a competing priorities, safety versus operations. I'm sure some of my colleagues and seniors here can attest to that. And these competing priorities are not reducing. What COVID-19 has done is it has escalated and increased the size of the problems. So it has increased the size of the problems for safety professionals. But problem always gravitates towards solutions. And because we are safety professionals, our main objective on whether it's a manufacturing, a construction, oil and gas, is to provide solutions. So because of these competing priorities prior to COVID-19, now with COVID-19, it has now made it a bigger problem. So where do we go from here? Now, let's start from looking at ourselves as safety professionals. Safety in Nigeria is not that old. Most safety professionals that we have in Nigeria, apart from few, maybe from Uniport, PTI, that studied health and safety, core health and safety, majority veered into safety. So most safety professionals, they became professional through years of experience, education, certification, and the job title. So experience always takes priority over certificates. So in this our profession, experience takes priority over certificates, because it's this experience that you will use to solve all the challenges that comes your way as a safety professional. Key aspect of the safety professional. Now, occupational safety stopped work with stop work order. How do I mean? When the pandemic was announced in Nigeria, the CNC, that's the president of Nigeria, announced a stop work for every citizen of Nigeria apart from essential duties. And who are these essential workers? The health professional, which somehow affected us, both positive and negative. The safety professionals were asked to go home, except for few that were working at the oil and gas platforms offshore, and also the manufacturing workers that are essential. So what are the basic functions? We have the technical skills that a safety professional should have, the social cultural skills, the ability to lead change, ability to build collaborative relationships, the ability to relate to top management, at the same time, the workers in the field. So what we talking? A safety professional is a people person. You have to be a people person at the same time a management person. Now, the rapid outbreak of the COVID-19 presents an alarm health crisis that the world is grappling with, even up to now. I tell you, there are several organizations that are yet to open. I repeat again, there are several organizations that are yet to open just because of the impact of the COVID-19. Now, when we talk of a safety professional, this is a subset of organization, be it manufacturing, oil and gas, construction, the airline industry. All these industries have safety professionals working with them. And this COVID-19 has presented several commercial impacts, business impact, and economic impact to the businesses. 94% of Fortune 1000 across globe and business in Nigeria have been impacted and already seen COVID-19 disruption. This was a KPMG report. So these organizations are affected in one way or the other. How? We will see in the following slide. One major issue that business have been addressing is liquidity, given that they still need to increase whether there's production or not, whether there's work or not. There are basic expenses that are being incurred by organizations. Now, some businesses are already following employees and paying them reduced salary. I have several colleagues from several organizations that are collecting half salary as I'm talking to you. Some are laid off. Some are being asked to work based on shifts, and the shift base is as work, you being paid as you work. These are changes that are adopted by some organizations due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We have remote working, compulsory leave, cancellation of trainings, temporary pay cuts, and sack. Several organizations have reduced their workforce. On the dailies, when we read the dailies often, we read about Bristol, we read about Airpeace, about several construction companies that are reducing workforce. Some are sacking. So it's not only safety career that has been affected. It is the world that has been affected by the pandemic. And for us to move away, or for us to mitigate against the solutions, and I believe at the end of this my presentation, we're going to talk, we're going to discuss, and as we discuss based on the solutions, everyone is going to learn from this talk. The basic industries that employ safety professionals are manufacturing industry, the oil and gas industry, the construction industry, a little portion of the airline industry. Now, when we talk of the safety career, we have the health, safety, and environment. For the health professionals, 90%, or let's say 80% of the population in Nigeria, they go to the private hospital. And at the beginning of this pandemic, most of private hospitals were shut. So even health professionals were affected. Currently, the Commissioner for Health in Lagos State is infected with coronavirus, COVID-19. That is the impact to an health official. Now, some of the regulatory intervention measures, that's intervention measures, so that we can see what are these intervention measures. As part of measures to curtail the impact of COVID-19 on offshore operations. There has been a number of directives and regulations issued by regulatory companies, that's the DPR, the DPR directed oil and gas companies to reduce their workforce. Now, this was regulatory body directing workforce or companies to reduce workforce. What most of these companies, what they did was they actually sacked their companies, their workers rather. They sacked their workers. So most workers in the oil and gas were affected because of this pandemic, and it was an intervention measure. So the regulatory body called it an intervention measure without seeing the aftermath effect of asking them to stay at home, to curtail coronavirus pandemic, thereby increasing unemployment among the population. In addition to the foregoing, the DPR issued another circular in March and addressed oil and gas contractors and service providers and requiring them to ensure that they comply with government directives to limit the number of personnel on project and construction sites. Now, when regulatory bodies asked organizations to limit the number of personnel on construction sites, these are snowballed into unemployment. So we have a lot of our colleagues that are safety professionals that are unemployed as at today due to pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what is the way forward? Earlier, I discussed about how I do a side job. For every safety professional, before pandemic, if you are on a construction site or a project site, due to the competing priorities between safety and operations, and most times when organizations reduce workforce, where they go to first is the safety department. Because of this, it is important for every safety professional to equip and build capabilities and capacity. In building capability and capacity, you must ensure if you are in a project site or construction or interested in production and operations, because your interest in productions and operations helps to keep your job. That's number one. Number two, as health, safety, and environment professional, we must collaborate. I am today talking on the platform are collaborating. I am collaborating with Mr. Waliu. Why is it so? Because globally, unemployment rate is high. And globally, there is unemployment. It is not ready to stop. It is not ready to reduce or to be limited. For continual inflow, for you to meet up your expenses or as health and safety professional, we individual, but I can tell you that a safety professional that does only safety without knowing what the operation guys are doing, without collaborating, the future is bleak. So with the few experience that I've had over the years, I have seen that for a safety professional to move forward, to move ahead in his career, you need, one, to build capability and capacity in that field. And when I say in that field, not only in the safety aspect of the job, but in the entirety of the operations of the job. Because your understanding of all the operations will help the aspect of the job. Number two, collaboration. Collaborate with management, collaborate with colleagues, collaborate with everyone. When you collaborate, it brings about not only in paying jobs, but in businesses and entrepreneurs. So with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to open our eyes to health and to side jobs being done by health and safety professionals, and also collaboration. Mr. Waliu, I would like to stop here to entertain questions and probably gain from the contribution. Over to you, Mr. Waliu.
I think I agree with the points you raised, especially in terms of being an integral part of the system outside of just your job description. Because at the end of the day, if you remain and stick to just what you think that you are employed for, it reduce your value. And when the hammer is about to strike, just like you said, especially like for example, this period, the pandemic period, a lot of people lost their job this period, and it is the easiest target will definitely be those people that have the smallest of contribution in the grand scheme of things. Like, not just about, okay, this is what I do and sticking to this is what I do. You have limited yourself. If there is somebody else that multitasks, does here, does a bit of that, does a bit of that, they would definitely want to consider this person contributes more to the system, which can be the factor that is going to help you keep your job. So it's just an advice, this COVID-19 era, that everybody should try as much as possible to contribute more to the system, especially for safety officers.
I totally agree with you, 100%. Any other contribution?